All right, so I'm back. I felt like I needed to come on, and I am going to talk about Cancer's energy because we're moving into Cancer, the fourth house, which means that there's going to be information about real estate. There's going to be information about nurturing, intuition, how you feel, um, and it's really important to take note or even take stock in whether your feelings are valid for this time of your life or if it was something from the past that you need to release. The past is I related to the trash can because it's no more, it can't produce anything for us. So if you're feeling melancholy, depressed, it could be that you need to face some things about maybe something that's not working in your life anymore. And intuition is bringing those thoughts upon you and I. Um, when I woke up this morning, I looked around at my circumstances in my home and I saw something different. I mean, we see these things, but I saw something different. And I could put it into words like this here. Sometimes you've been put in a position where you had to let go of something, and now it is the time for you to nurture and heal yourself. That means that that part of the astrology chart is speaking to you and it's saying, well, you may not have had the answers to everything in the past, but if you just look at what God is saying and then match it with the time of the astros, which is the universe, you'll see that everyone is having to deal with something concerning the fourth house energy that says, I need to look at how to nurture myself or nurture someone. In this case, you might be in a place where you are alone, not lonely. And that time is calling you to become comfortable with who you are, to know who you are, to assess and realize that maybe all of the doing that you did in the past is no more. Now it's time for you to do for yourself. Many people have sacrificed their lives and they became um, prisoners to sacrifice. Let me just say that. One day you might wake up and find that you don't have to be a prisoner to a sacrifice. What does that mean? Maybe you wasn't called to be a martyr or be like Jesus. Maybe you weren't even called to be someone that has to do something all the time. You just think that because society has told you that. And then you get that wake up call and it says, look at you. Why are you always trying to do the same thing that you did in the past? Why aren't you trying to do some things that's going to be futuristic? And generally, we don't do that because we don't know how to. So we go back to the past. We don't know how to step out into the land of nurturing ourselves so that we can get better and know as we spend time alone with ourselves that there's something more that we have left to do in life. I can't really put a story on it because um, it might lead us to think of something that I don't want to. I want people to just think about themselves and think why they've been alone, or even why you've been alone in a relationship. It's not that it's someone's fault. It was an awakening that you and I needed to see. You may not have been understood in the workplace or by, your family. It doesn't mean that that has to continue. To me, that's like a sacrifice because at the end of the sacrifice of people not seeing you or hearing you, or like you're feeling invisible, for instance, it's going to be up to you to change the perception once you find that you're not with these people all the time anymore. You are alone for a reason. You're in an isolated position so that you can learn something about yourself and even your past experiences. And that's what nurturing is about concerning the Cancer house. That's like the moon, it's the mother, and it's important because the moon is the womb. That's where rebirthing and birthing takes place. So I challenge you, at this point in time to find out why you feel alone. And don't just accept it, but embrace it so that more of who you are can be transformed for your evolution. The time that you spend alone gets you into a place where you absolutely know who you are. It don't happen all of a sudden, all the time, like it happened with Paul, who was blinded by the light. It happens over time. You know, I give the analogy to you to think about how can you think about yourself when you're always thinking about others? How can you grow yourself when you're always growing others? You see, it's a time and season for everything. That means that if you grew your children up and you're still thinking about them and they're married and grown on their way, you have to analyze why you're in that space and you're not putting energy into yourself. Even a person who thinks about abuse that they've been through, what you have to think about is the abuse to learn how to overcome it and release that energy from your life. You just can't do it physically, you have to do it spiritually. Therefore, you need time to yourself to release all of that energy that may not even be who you are, but you became accommodated to that energy. You know, you may have been treating people bad, they may have been treating you back and forth, that conflict. And you realize one day, I just don't want to do that no more. But then you also have to realize what you added to it in the past so that you can overcome and you can change the way that you have dealt with people. That's nurturing yourself because you're becoming acquainted with yourself to understand that everyone is not to blame for your downsettings and your faults. We are. I'm to blame. Whatever happened in my life is because of me. I allowed it or I created it. Once I get to that place, then I understand the years and the years of sacrifice or the affliction is not about being a victim, but I was pouring something into something to make amends for situations. Making amends means that I want to make my right wrong. A lot of people talk about debt, but they don't talk about the debts that they have incurred to others, the souls. They don't talk about the debt where they damage people and they feel like they don't owe nothing to them, but that you may not owe them, but you're going to owe and pay for that because there's an ought between you and this person. Even if they forgive you in the cellular realm, you need to nurture yourself to be in a place where you unpack that pain because that pain came from somewhere, probably in your childhood. And what I find is that people don't want to face conflict within themselves. They don't want to face it in themselves and nurture themselves to be healed. So they always repeat situations going from one person to another until the cycle is broken, one person to another, one job to another. You'll always repeat the same because you don't know why this repetition is happening. It's unhealthy, usually connected to toxic behaviors, usually connected to codependent behaviors, usually connected to the way that I think about myself, which could be low self-esteem. It could be that there's some mental illness that was hidden that people don't know about. People are thriving in life in areas and no one knows that they're suffering. Time to nurture. That's what Cancer's energy is about. People are going to be selling houses. Just make sure in this retrograde energy, with all of those planets, that you get a fair deal when you sell your house. Make sure everything is line upon line and precept upon precept. Because with retrograde, we're all slowing down for reflection anyway. How about that? Slowing down, reflection, nurturing in the Cancer house. Reflection to what? To my past mistakes. If I built a business, did I count up the cost before I built it? Or did I just do it? You know, if I had that behavior, then what I need to do is change it and count up the cost before I just throw myself into it and put all my energy into it. But then I don't know where everything is going to come to create the next part of the energy, which is what is going to generate that money back to me? Where's the wealth coming back in? You see what I'm saying? All of these things are met in the time of you and I nurturing ourselves and sitting down and saying, how do I make it work? How do I undo the situations? How do I move forward in my life? How do I create a better life? Of course, all of it is with God, but God wants us to look at the way that we display ourselves, how we present ourselves, how we behave with one another. And if I can't nurture myself when I get some time alone, that means that I've been asking for peace, but I really don't want it. If I can't nurture myself when I get time alone, that means that even the healing that I pray for, I'm not even looking for because I'm just saying words and I don't understand how it connects. The time alone is really allowing you to have what you desired and what you deserve so that you can now create even more, evolve beyond who you have been. So I am Kim Warner. Of course, you guys know that I am a executive coach. I work in human services. I have a master's degree in behaviors. I love to be able to talk about my own behaviors or even just present myself and show people how to deal with their mind and behave differently because I lived in an environment where I could see behaviors. I didn't know what to do with it, but God was saying, do something in my childhood. And I grew up with those behaviors, but I knew I had to change myself. So if you're looking for, help as life is going on and progressing and you want to see more success in your life, I don't mean just financially, but on a wealthy level, posterity level, your children's lives changing, connect with me on Instagram. There it is, Inner Wealth Builders. Also, join some of my classes. I have a PTSD class. PTSD is not just about veterans. It's about you experiencing trauma. You may have seen someone, killed. People have been raped, molested, and the traumas are still impeding their lives. They're not able to manifest fully. All of those traumas, we talk about them. The domestic violence, we talked about that this week. And so that class is going on, and then we'll have some healing classes going on next month. So I challenge you to think better. I challenge you to be the best that you can be. And I challenge you to connect with a mature woman, a mature man that can help you see that evolution is before us. You are in the process and in the midst of some energy that is saying nurture yourself so you can see what you need to release concerning what is not productive in you and your life, in you and your life, and take on the new as you sit and nurture yourself and begin to produce a harvest that will wow the people in your life and all around you. All right. Blessings.